Assalomu alaykum, ko'pchilik yaxshimisizlar? Bugungi programmamga alohida bir mehmonni taklif qildim. Uyg'ur xalqining yaqin do'sti, o'zi go'zal, so'zi go'zal, qalbi go'zal, insoniy ish faoliyatlarimizda hammamizga ulgu bo'lishga tegishli go'zal do'stimiz Martinani ekranimga taklif qildim. Yaxshimisiz?
Selam.
Assalom. Martyna hozir Polshadan turib bizniki programmamiz ketyotidi. Men Kanadadan Guli Maqsud programmamda maxsus Uyg'ur faoliyatchilarimizga yaqindan yordamda bo'lib, Uyg'ur Pulse projektiga ko'plagan video, guvohlik videolarini ish qilib biz bilan birga bizningki vatandagi xalqimizningki yaqin do'sti. Martyna, o'zingiz ozroq tanishtirib beramiz? English, Turkish, Uyghur,
düşündüm ama İngilizce konuşalım.
Tamam.
Uyghur Turkish pidgin I've created myself. I'm really sorry, but it would be easier for everyone if we talked English because, as you've probably heard, when I speak Uyghur, when I try to speak Uyghur, I usually mix it with Turkish, so it might be much more difficult for the
Whatever
Uyghurs
you
to
like.
understand
Yeah.
my Uyghur.
Turkish, Uyghur, English, whatever you like.
So let's say we can use English and Turkic languages as helping tools. Let's say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So my first question: how and when did you start your activism for the Uyghur people?
So it was like, let's say, officially about 2.5 years ago. It will be about 3 years. Will have been 3 years in May, maybe. Yeah, about. As I'm saying, it was like officially because, of course, I had heard about Uyghurs before, and actually, my interest into Turkic languages and cultures goes like many years ago in my past. But the problem is that here in Poland we are too much like, especially nowadays, we are too much like self-oriented, maybe Europe-oriented. That's why the level of knowledge we have about Central Asia and more generally Turkic countries of Asia is very low. That's why I need to admit that even if I'd known about the Uyghurs, like in general, I hadn't been aware of the fact that the situation there in East Turkestan is that much grave. So 2.5 years ago, let's say more or less 3 years ago, I decided to kind of step out to go active because simply I have found out more about the situation by meeting people from there, by studying different sources, and I've realized that I hadn't actually done enough in this area. So merely knowing about Uyghurs and promoting Turkic culture was not enough in such situation. So that was the start. So it all started through linguistic interest, but then I decided to do something more, let's say, beneficial concerning human rights.
Ko'pchilik hozir degan gaplarni bir Uyg'urcha desam, Martyna do'stimiz 2,5 yil oldida, taxminan 2 yillik oldida deyli shu maxsus professional bo'lib rasmiy aktivizmni boshlagan ekan. O'zimi til tadqiqoti bilan shug'ullangan bo'lgandan keyin hozir shu turk tilini bilsiz, turkcha, Uyg'urcha,
azroq o'zbekcha.
Toza yaxshi naq maydondan tarjima qilamoqdakman. Ko'pchilik birlikda hozir deyilgan gaplarni mayada bir Uyg'ur uchur axborot markazininki maxsus Martyna xonim to'g'riliq ishlagan bir nimani birlikda ko'raylik. Documentary filmni birlikda ko'raylik. Shuning uchun ko'pchilik men tarjima qilsammi?
Polşadagi Uyg'ur qizi.
Uyg'ur qizi deb
İjtimoiy taratqularda Uyg'urlar uchun sada chiqarayotgan haqqoniyat uchun Uyg'urlar tarafda turib kurash qilayotgan bu qiz Martyna Kokotkiewicz. Nurg'un Uyg'urlar bu qiz bilan Facebook yuzida do'st. Martyna Xitoy ishg'oliyatidagi Sharqiy Turkistonda jazo lagerlariga qamalgan va yo'qolgan Uyg'urlarning guvohlik sin filmlarini yig'ish uchun har doim chaqiriq qiladi. Uning kiyimlari, аңлىklari, zinatlari oq bilan ko'kni asos qilgan bo'lib, bu Uyg'urlarning bayrog'iga simvol qilingan. Uning bo'ynida har qachon oy yulduzliq bulabka, keynida oy yulduzliq ko'k bayroq bor. Martyna Kokotkiewicz polshaliq bir qiz. Polshaning Poznan universitetida fin-uyg'ur va hongir tillari mutaxassisi va o'qituvchisi. U ana tili polakchadan boshqa fin-uyg'ur, hongir, ingliz, german, turkcha qatorliq 7 xil tilni pishiq biladi. Uyg'urchani o'qib tushuna oladi va so'zlay oladi. Uning Uyg'urlarga bo'lgan sevgisi va qilayotgan xizmatlari nurg'un Uyg'urlarni xijil qilib qo'yishi mumkin. Martyna universitetda fin-uyg'ur va hongir tillarida o'qigan bo'lib, uning bu kasbi tabiiy holda uni turanchilik, turkiy millatlar va turkiy tillar bilan hapilishga ilib kirgan. U nihoyat tezda turk madaniyati va turklarni yoqtirib qolgan. Shu qatorda Uyg'urlarni dastlabki qadamda bilgan. 2015-yili u Turkiyani ziyorat qilgandan keyin uning turk va islomga bo'lgan tushunchasi tez oshgan va 2016-yili musulmon bo'lgan. Shu chog'lardan beri u turklar va turk millatlarini o'z tadqiqotiga munosabatlik soha deb qarashdan halqib, ularga qarindoshlari sifatida muomala qilishga boshlagan. 2017-yili u tunji qitim Uyg'urlarga bo'layotgan zulmlarni turk yoshlarining ijtimoiy taratquv uchurlaridan bilgan va ahvolning u qadar og'irligini bilib, bak azoblangan. Ammo Polsha jimjit bo'lib, Uyg'urlar haqidagi xabarlar yo'q deyarlik edi. Shuning bilan u Uyg'urlarning beshiga kelayotgan zulmlarni polshaliklarga bildirishni qaror qilib, torda faoliyat boshlagan. Martynaning Uyg'urlar uchun faoliyat qilishi osonga tushmagan. Gerçi u tor yuzda nurg'un Uyg'urlar bilan do'st bo'lsa-mu, Polshada uni qo'llaydigan odam darhol tepilmagan. U o'zining shahridagi islom markazidan yordam so'rash qaroriga kelgan. 2017-yili Ramazon kechlarining birida Martyna musulmon qarindoshlarga Xitoy ishg'oliyatidagi musulmon Uyg'urlar uchun duo qilayli deb talab qilgan. Aslida her Ramazon kechasi har qaysi mamlakatlardagi musulmonlar uchun duo qilinayotdi. Uyg'urlar uchunmi duo qilinishi kerak edi. Ammo ularning bu haqdagi inkosi Martynani hayron qoldirgan. Nimishqa Xitoy ishg'oliyatidagi musulmonlarga duo qilamiz? U yerda nimish bo'pti? Xitoyda musulmonlar bormi? Degandek savollarga duch kelgan. U bu haqda Xitoyning ularga nachar muomala qilayotganligini qisqacha tushuntirgandan keyin Uyg'urlar uchun duo o'qilgan. Biroq shu qitimqidan boshqa bu haqda fikrlashgili bo'lmagan. Bu to'g'riliq Martyna bir qancha qitim tirishchanlik ko'rsatgan bo'lsa-mu, unumi bo'lmagan. Keyin masjidning arab imomi Martynaning Twitterda Xitoyga qaratgan faoliyatini ayblab, uni to'sgan va uning irqchilik qilayotganligini aytib azor bergan. Martyna o'zining dastlabki chog'laridagi ta'sirotlarini aslab mundoq deydi. Har ishda bir hikmat bor. Shu chog'da go'yoki Alloh dilimga solgandekla bir ish bo'ldi. Uyg'urlarning beshiga kelayotgan qismatlarni bilib, bakma azoblandim. Dunyodan, insonlardan, hatto o'zimdanmi royim qaytgandek bo'ldi. Chunki o'zimni bakli yarmas his qilgan edim. Qalb tiyishimdan shuni his qildimki, Agar Uyg'urlarning bugungi qismati to'g'riliq ijobiy nuqtadan bir ish qila olmasam, hayotimni normal holatda davomlashtira olmaydim. Faoliyatchi bo'lishning osonga to'xtamaydiganligini Martyna boshdan bilardi. Polshadagilarning umumiy jihatdan sirtqi dunyodagi kishilar to'g'riliq tafsiliy ma'lumoti yo'q edi. Ular Osiyoda yashaydiganlar Osiyolik, u yerda Xitoylar yashaydi degandek tushunchalarda edi. Martyna Uyg'urlarni tilga olganida ular hayronlik bilan qarab qolardi. Uningga eng yaqin insonlar uning qilayotgan ishlarini tushunmaydi va qilganlari ularga g'ayrat o'ylatdi. U doim o'z holing bilan bo'l, o'zingning hayotiga ko'ngil bo'l degandek so'zlarni angladi. Javob sifatida bu mening hayotimdir. Shundaqla seningmi hayotingdir. Bu hammamiz qilishimiz kerak bo'lgan ish dedi. Martyna 2019-yili 7-oyning 21-kuni dunyoning ko'plagan joylarida Xitoyga qarshi namoyish o'tkaziladiganligini bildi. U o'z davlatidagi kishilardan umid kutdi. O'z shahridagi islom dini markazi musulmon qarindoshlaridan umid kutdi. Ularga namoyish haqidagi fikrlarini tushuntirdi va hamma ishni o'zining o'rinlashtiradiganligiga va'da berdi. Afsuski, uni qo'llaydiganlar chiqmadi. 2019-yili 7-oyning 21-kuni Martyna o'zi turishliq shaharda yolg'iz kishilik rasmlik namoyish elib bordi. Uningga yordamchi bo'ladigan bir necha qarindosh chiqdi. Yolg'iz kishilik namoyishni rasmga tortib berdi. U hayajondan titraydi. Bu kun uning hayotini o'zgartdi. Buni hech qachon o'ylab boqmagan edi. Taraf-tarafdan qo'llash sadolari kelishga boshladi. Asosli qo'llashlar yanada Uyg'urlardan keldi. Ko'p kishilar bilan tanishdi. Albatta, bu tanishishlar faqat internetda bo'lmadi. Chunki Polshadami Uyg'urlarning borligini bilgan edi. O'z ishidan nihoyatda ta'sirlandi. Qilganim kichik ish bo'lsa-mu, har ishning ma'nosi bor. Balkim o'zim yolg'iz ko'p ish qilolmasman. Ammo eng bo'lmaganda bir qancha kishiga ma'naviy yordam bera olayman. Beshiga kelgan dardlar uchun Uyg'ur qarindoshlarimizning yolg'iz emasligini bu orqali bo'lsa-mu ko'rsata olayman deb o'ylaydi. Bir butun xalqni hech kim o'zi yolg'iz qutqiza olmaydi. Ammo yaqin kelgusida yolg'iz bir kishi hech bo'lmasa bir oilani yoki bir kishini bo'lsa-mu qutqiza olishi mumkin. Yordamga har zaman tayyor turishim kerak. Boshqalarga mushuni his qildirishni xohlayman. Bu sabablik harakatlarimni davomlashtiraman deydi Martyna. O'zining nima uchun Uyg'urlarga bu qadar muhabbat borligining sababini uning o'zimi aniq tushuntirib bera olmaydi. Qisqalik qilib, balkim Alloh dilimga solgandi deydi.
Gaplardan ben pek ta'sirlandim. Ko'p rahmat.
Ko'p rahmat sizga. I always feel a little bit ashamed when people talk about me in such a beautiful way, but on the other hand, I know it's it's something we sometimes like need to do. Like even talking about ourselves might be helpful. So if it's helpful, then I'm ready to do it. And I think it was very good to go back to this show because that program was from April probably, but. Yeah. It's very good to emphasize because there were some problems like I face here in Poland mentioned in it, that now the situation is even worse because of many factors. So first of all, now we are all facing the pandemic, which technically extremely literally limited my contact to the Muslim society in here. So at the beginning I had some minimum, let's say, support from them. Now I have no contact with them because for some time the masjids were closed here in Poland. And secondly, we are undergoing like a huge internal problems here in Poland. So there is like in media no space for other topics. And now, like before the Olympics, it's for me like personally especially painful because I don't think so. I don't think that Poland is interested in boycotting the Olympic Games. And this is something extremely, as I've said, it's my personal. So yeah, it's very painful for me because I know that now it's in Poland. It's too late to start talking about boycotting the games because people are totally like already focused on the fact that we are going to have the games, and there's no space for analyzing China's problems because we are really in mess in here. So really, the situation has got worse since that time.
Qısqacha bir tərcümə qılarsam, köpçülük Martyna xanım deydi, bu hazır Polşadakı əhval, yəni özününki işki məsələlər bilan aldırış bolğanlıq üçün Olimpik haqida hech qandaq boykot qilish bir programmalar o'tirib qo'yilmadi. Hatto shu Olimpik haqida tashviqotlar bo'linib, human rights, ya'ni kishilik huquq faoliyatlariga cheklovlar uchrayotdi. Deb o'tgan qisqa filmdagi Polsha hukumatiga aralashganlik, ya'ni faoliyatlarini to'sqinlikni bakka qisqalam deb o'tib ketdi. Hozirgi ahvol burunqidimi bakrak ig'ir. Ya'ni Uyg'urlar uchun ovoz chiqarishga qilinayotgan harakatlarim to'sqinlikka uchrayotdi deydi. So you are doing your activism all alone when you
At the
start.
moment, I have a big community abroad, like you and like other great friends, but this is actually like only thing I can do now, like being like online, like visible in social media.
Yeah,
But
activism
it's
on
all
internet.
limited to that. Of course, I'm trying to because I'm working in the university and I'm trying to use some like all the opportunities I have to at least mention the Uyghur problem during different events, let's say. But it is always because like officially, Turkic languages are not my area. I always do it as a kind of addition to something because I need to stick to another subject, and sometimes like mention other problems as a kind of using my own area as an excuse to doing that. So this is not that efficient. But on the other hand, most of my colleagues and even students, they know what I'm doing. So I'm trying to be visible also in this academic society. But we are like a state university, government financed. So we are a part of this like problematic society at the moment. So we cannot do much more than we are doing now.
Because you are strong. Your voice is so strong, so they're afraid of you.
Yeah, that's no. My voice is strong. Yeah, and the problem is that, as I've said, people are intimidated by China, or they don't understand Chinese phenomenon. They don't understand that what's happening there is not, let's say, China's inner problem, or really, some people really believe that Chinese government is fighting against extremism, for example. And you can hear such opinions even among people who kind of deal with the region. They at least know some basic things about the region. So you could expect more from them, but no. They are prone to this propaganda that China is actually taking care of its interest and doing what's like inevitable because the government wants to eradicate fundamentalism, extremism, and terrorism, and such blah blah blah stuff.
I see.
So they really believe that the people are being sent to schools. So my question is, does a medical doctor need school in order to get a new job, for example? They don't really understand that their way of thinking is illogical, and it's not really this way. But unfortunately, the Chinese propaganda really plays an important role in here, because people don't really don't take any interest in analyzing this problem. If the Chinese government says that they have problems with Islamic terrorists and extremists, that's true. So they have a right to eradicate those people. And this is a very simple way of thinking.
So
And that's why it's very hard to talk to people here.
Polish government trust the Chinese propaganda, right?
Polish government is like the people who think reasonably understand that. So actually, the answer is I don't know what the government thinks, but the biggest part of society really believes that we need to obey China because China is strong. I remember that before the Summer Olympic Games in Beijing, there were some voices about human rights abuses and so on, but still, we sent our athletes there, and now we are sending again. And I need to say that winter sports are extremely popular in Poland, so it's going to be a very hard time for me to go through this, because I am into winter sports as well, and I would like to watch my favorite athletes competing during the Winter Olympic Games, but unfortunately not in China. Yeah, so this is definitely not the proper place to promote Olympic values.
So you are saying you personally boycott Beijing Olympic, even if
Yeah,
you
definitely.
very like winter sports,
Yes.
even if you very like winter.
Yeah, I will tell you more. I think, because I haven't attended any winter sports competitions for a long time, but I used to go to see ski jumping competitions, and I have met some people from these, let's say, societies. So I can say that I think that I even know personally some people who are going to Beijing soon. And this is going to be a very hard moment for me, like, to admit that actually I'm sorry, but I disapprove of what you're doing, because it's not like a just another competition. These are Olympic Games. There's certain history and certain values connected to this institution. So I can't I can't understand how you can go to a country that actually violates all those values to to wave your national flag and sing your anthem and be happy, while people actually why can't the Uyghurs send their own athletes to the Olympic Games, for example? Why don't people think this way? Like, this is something ridiculous. So they can't even go to watch the games, not to mention building Olympic team, for example. And they are there in China, right? So this is going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know what is the real meaning of Olympics.
Now there is it's all gone. Yeah, it's gone.
So genocide is happening, and you go there and you
Yes,
raise
we will
your
promote unity and such, and actually, like, from the historical point of view, the Olympics should be a time where all the wars of the world cease. That it's like ceasefire time. But actually, we are in a state of constant war in different parts of the world. So it's all a little bit, it's ridiculous, and I'm really sorry for those athletes I personally know and support and like, that if they feel forced to go, okay, that's their problem. But if they just take it easy and believe something wrong about it, then something to really we need to think of, because it's pointless to organize such games.
They are athletics. They don't care much about politics, but before being an athlete, they are human, so they should.
Exactly, and we know that, like, we know examples of like representatives of athletic societies that really raise their voice about the issue. So this is nothing unusual to combine these things. But the problem is still like the core problem is people are not informed enough, because not to be unfair, because I've criticized these athletes going there now, so now not to be like unfair, some of them might not even know what's going on in there.
Yeah.
I can imagine that. I can't believe it's true, because it's natural that they focus on other things in their life and they really don't have time to go into details, and sometimes they even have to ignore certain news to become focused on what they are doing. So it's all about the lack of knowledge and not enough sources of information about the situation.
Well, can you talk about the activism being alone versus being in team? How do you feel?
Yeah, it's very nice. Like from time to time, it's very nice to understand, to organize one-man protest, or to take some pics and upload them. But you cannot go too far without a team, because we all have different skills that combined together give us strength. For example, as I told you before we started this interview, we could probably try to talk only in Uyghur, but it would take some days for me to prepare. So it's easier when I speak English, my words are translated, because someone else, like you and other people maybe watching this, will help others to understand. There are people who are skilled in IT, so they can, for example, edit and upload videos to different channels. There are people, there are like, we have many artists that are skilled enough to, let's say, make posters and other like stuff like that in order to make us more visible. So you cannot do all of this alone. Not to mention a very simple thing, that for some kind of actions, you unfortunately also need some financial support. There are wealthy and less wealthy people among us. Some people can do more, some people can do less. So we cannot demand the same things from everyone, but we can demand something from everyone. Yeah.
Everyone has different abilities, so we can come
Exactly.
together.
And possibilities. Yeah. So if you, for example,
Can
yeah,
you tell me about your experience when you are in team for collecting video testimonies about victims of genocide?
yeah, it was the most productive time of this activism period, and I'm really sorry it's gone. But on the other hand, I also understand that it really had to be kind of stopped for a moment, because it was really all the same group of people making these videos all the time, and at some point, it's extremely like, when watched by people who are, for example, want to gather information about the situation because it's new for them, it's not a reliable source of information if the same people are testifying for the same persons all the time. You need more voices. And this is exactly, we are coming to the same point again, that you really need to demand from yourself and from the others. And if the others don't want to cooperate, you cannot force them. So we just didn't have enough testifiers eager to contribute to this. But I believe that it was one of the best projects we've had, because there are some like, for example, many people have after like many years got first pieces of information about their relatives. Some families got united and so on. There are not spectacular cases, and there are many, but there are still. So if we can save one person, why not to do this? That's why I believe that we should think about some kind of bringing this project back to life in some form. Maybe not like we could not think about regular video sessions, but maybe we could at least try to talk to some people sometimes, even like once a month, or one person a month. because it's always something.
Yeah. At least we can be a voice of one family. Back
Yeah,
then,
at least, as I've said, if we can save one person, why not to have a try? We cannot save 1 million at once. It will take time and many other actions, but we can try.
I personally very impressed of your tireless work during those days.
I know that, yeah, that some of them were, as I've said, they were really like active. They wanted to take part, but for others, the problem was like uh, it was problem with deadlines, problem about the regularity, about deadlines mostly. Because if you ask people to do something by a certain date, you really need to get it done by that time, because it cannot like take like mm, I don't know, months to upload like 20 videos. It cannot be this way. So people should be a little bit more self-disciplined, I think, because some people are really they are willing to do something, but
Yeah.
all in all, the result is poor. So it's only about self-discipline, I would say, because we cannot say that they are like uneager to do anything, because it's unfair. I know them. I can see what they are posting or tweeting and so on. So they are there somewhere, but it's only about discipline, I think. This is something that comes from like something, it's a kind of inner problem that you want to do something, but all in all, you don't do it. So everyone should discuss it with oneself. I mean, why it is like this? Because it's very hard to.
So you are on Facebook with Uyghur community. You do look at Uyghur activity, Uyghur like comments. So you know about our internal discussion.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another thing. I would really like. We should really make people aware of the fact that if they keep on arguing about idiotic issues, we are all wasting our human resources. So it's my like kind of a personal pledge. Please don't argue about the name of the country. Don't argue which of your governments is correct or right. No. First of all, we need to save people dying there. We might need to make the world aware of the fact that people are, for example, this is something I've been trying to, to raise my voice about here in Poland. That we are Uyghurs in different parts. We have Uyghur communities in different parts of the world. People are coming. We are getting like new migrants. We need to make people aware of problems of those people in different countries. We don't have time now to discuss what we should say. Is Turkestan, Uyghuristan, or I don't know, Xinjiang maybe, or nothing at all, because we just don't have the resources, human resources to do that.
Thank you for mentioning that. Give me 1 minute. I'll translate to my people, okay?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Axırkı bir sualni sordum köpçülük. Facebook'ta siz barmı? Facebook'taki bizningki da deyişayotgan gaplarimizga diqqat qilamsiz desam, sizlarninki hozir munozirlashayotganinglar asla muhim temalar emasdi. Biri davlatning ismi Turkiston bo'lamdi yo Uyg'uriston bo'lamdi degandek temalarda munozirlashish intayin ahamiyatsiz. Hozirgi muhim narsa odamninki hayotini qutqizish deydi. Shuni alayda bir deb qo'ygim keldi. Bu nuqtani yuritib berganingizga rahmat. Thank you for mentioning that we should concentrate on more important things, not important if we are
there's
gonna...
another thing. Another favorite topic of let's say internet trolls, among which we need to like kind of sort certain things out, calling others enemies of nations, Chinese agent, and the worst thing I always really cannot stand is calling others munafiks. You, like me and everyone, we are just humans, and we definitely have no right to judge if someone is munafik or not. Okay, so this is the first thing. Like from the purely theological point of view, you have absolutely no right to call others hypocrites and unbelievers. So this thing should be dealt with like at first. Another thing, enemies of nation and agents and others. If you have some personal, let's say, argument with someone, just don't talk to those people. But don't post offensive content on other people's walls, for example, just because that someone is an enemy of the nation, right? Even if you have proofs for that, okay? Don't post these. For example, when I talk about someone, sometimes I remember that it happened several times. I posted something about certain people, and within the comments I found some offensive content concerning those people. I don't think this is the right thing of dealing with stuff, because you need to remember that you are posting this below my comments, my post. So if you have some personal issues with the person, deal with it, but not this way, because this way you are using someone else's tools
Yeah.
This is rude, first of all. Yeah. And unfortunately, yeah.
تەرجىمە قىلىپ ئۆتەي. كۆپچىلىك مايەدە يەنە بىر مۇھىم بىر گېپىنى دەپ قويدى. بىرىنچى بولۇپ ھېچقانداق ئادەمنىڭكى يەنە بىر ئادەمنى مۇناپىق دېيىش ھوقۇقى يوق دەيدۇ. ھەممىمىز ئادەم، مەيلى ئۇ قايسى گۇرۇپپا قايسى ئىدىيەلەرنى تەرقىتسۇن، قايسى ئىدىيەگە ئىشەنسۇن، لېكىن شۇ ئادەمنىڭكى مۇناپىق ئىكەنلىكىگە ئىسپات دەلىل بولغان تەقدىردىمۇ سوشال مېدىياغا ئاچىقىپ ئۇنى ئايىگە بىر نەرسە يازماسلىق كېرەك دەيدۇ. ھېچ كىمنىڭكى بىر كىمنى يەنە ئۇنى مۇناپىق دەپ ئۇنداق تىللاش سوشال مېدىيادا يەنە بىر كىمنىڭكى بىرى ئۇ ياخشى ئىش ئەمەس، يەنە بىرسى ئىنتايىن rude, adabsizlikmi deb qo'ymizmi? Masalan, bir kim bir narsani yozsa, shu narsaniki ostiga o'ziga ziddiyati bor sababli odamniki ostidagi komment inkas yozish orqali boshqa odamga bundoq tuhmat qilish, u ishlarni qilsa, boshqa bir odamniki o'rnini, ya'ni Facebook mediasidan foydalanib, yana bir odamga munofiq degandek badnomlarni choplash yaxshi emas. Buni ko'pchilik bir yaxshi bir o'yinib baqsin demoqchiman. Yana bir nuqtani tapaganingizga ming ko'p rahmat. Nuqtaliq qilib yaxshi paranglashdik. Bundan keyingi planlarimizni ancha deyishib baqsaq, sizningki menga beradigan tavsiyalaringiz yoki bo'lmasa shu faoliyatchilik aktivizm jarayonida nima ishlarni qilsak texmo unumli bo'ladi. Qanday planlarınız var, qanday fikir təklifləriniz var, şunu anlataq. What is your suggestions to do
for our activism? Yeah, so that's like the best idea that comes to my mind is kind of like revitalizing the testifying program, but as I've said, it doesn't have to be the same way as the Week of Polls was organized, because we already know that like the experience has shown that it's going to be difficult. But we could, for example, try to invite people eager to testify to like for conversations like similar to this one. And then we could, of course, share the link to the, or share the recorded program in social media so that it goes, viral and serves as testimony video, actually.
Yeah.
So the best idea would be just to think about some guests, some people we could invite, and we could talk to them if they would be interested in testifying this way or not. So it would be a kind of a longer version of testimony video we used to do for the couples.
That's a good idea. We can work together. Invite people, including the victims of concentration camps. We can ask them to talk about their relatives. Yeah, it's nice.
The problem is going to be a linguistic one, of course, because when we had those videos, we had time to edit them, and there were different language versions. But if we, for example, have prepared core content for this conversation, we could, for example, do it make it in Uyghur English at least, and maybe even but here I would probably need your help and other volunteers as well. Maybe even in Chinese would be quite beneficial to kind of translate the content to at least these three languages.
As much as
Or,
I can.
for example, someone who knows Chinese could speak Chinese, and you could translate Uyghur, and with the help of Uyghur and all their pieces of information, I could try to translate it to English, and so there are many options to make it without like very very long-lasting translation processes, because we cannot do it like, because there are only two people making this, we cannot afford.
Make a big
So
team. Ways better. It gets stronger.
yeah, exactly.
Working in a team is better than
Yeah.
working alone.
Yeah, definitely. So this is my suggestion for now, and of course, for these coming weeks of, unfortunately, the Olympic Games, because everything seems like we are really going to have the Olympic Games, so they are going to take place. I think that the only thing we can do about it is just to spoil the atmosphere. So just try to make people who are like celebrating and so on, just try to make them aware that actually there's nothing to feel happy about. And this is, I know that it sounds very naive, but as I've said, on the other hand, I know that here in Poland the winter sports are very popular, so people will be talking about them a lot. And in such situation, when you start to raise your voice about issues, like real issues, might be heard. So I really well, your situation in Canada is better because Canada has boycotted the Olympic Games, at least politically, like diplomatically. So
Yeah,
will be
diplomatic boycott only. But
yeah,
athletics are still going, and I think they are already in Beijing.
yeah, of course, because they need to kind of get some time to get used to the to
The
the
21 days of
conditions.
quarantine, they
Yeah,
are already in Beijing.
and then that's going to be very interesting because they know strong teams for like well, actually ice hockey is your national sport, so I think there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff in media during the upcoming days. So it's our kind of homework is to stay focused on the news, and every time we have possibility to kind of appear somewhere, we should we should do it. So this is the plan for the current months, the upcoming events. And we'll see.
We'll see.
And we have intentions to influence the situation. So I hope we can make something out of it.
Okay, it
Yeah.
was nice talking to you. And would you please give more suggestions for what should Uyghur people on Facebook, on Twitter, on social media?
Mhm.
What is your any
So
other opinions, any
yeah,
other suggestions?
first yeah. First of all, when someone comes up with an idea,
Mhm.
try to take part. Don't only say that, wow, it's a very nice idea, thank you for that, I appreciate it. No, try to do it. Try to take part.
Yeah.
So if, for example, if we decide to contact any of you to suggest that you could be interviewed for like a testimony video, just do it. Or try to find someone else who would be interested. Like, try to do something. Don't only say that, wow, that's a great idea, because it's not enough. Yeah, you can, for example, like sometimes you can take part in some idea which you personally don't find like the best in the world, but it's all an opportunity to do something. So don't really say, well, thank you for this great idea. No, take part and stop arguing about pointless things. So
Thank you
this is the
again.
most important.
Ko'pchilik oxirida Martina xonimniki ko'pchiligi deydiganki, bu bormi, texmo ko'proq bir fikr takliflari bo'lsa desam, nima deb javob berdi desanglar, birisi ma'lum bir ideyani o'tirib qo'ygan chog'da yoki bunday qilayli degan chog'da, voy mana shunday yaxshi plankan, yaxshi ishkan, deblam eg'izdilam to'xtab qolmay, cho'qim ishni qilayli, bir ishlarni qilayli, qo'l silib ishlayli deydi. Yana biri ko'pchilikni ahamiyatsiz bo'lgan temalar ustida bakchiq paranglashib ketmanglar, bakchiq munozirlashib ketmanglar, munozirlashib ketishga hech qanday ahamiyati yo'q. Muhim ishlar ustida, ya'ni odam qutqizish haqida harakat qilaylik. U ortiq temalar ustida munozira qilib vaqtni isrof qilmaylik deydi. Yaxshi takliflarni berdingiz. Ko'p rahmat. Bugungi programmamga kelganingizdan ko'p xushal bo'ldim. I thank you very much and I really appreciated that I back to my interviewing people, the programs. I hope we can do more. That's regularly.
Thank you for activating me, let's say, again, because I felt so much useless for a long time, and now we are back in action. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Nice talking to you. And now I am going to say goodbye to all of my viewers. Ko'pchilik amsa bugungi programmam mushada oxirlashdi. Ammolarga rahmat. Qo'llab-quvvatlashinglarni keyingi programmamda, ya'ni Martyna xonim bilan ya boshqa do'stlar bilan, ko'rganlar bilan suhbatlarni ilib olmoqchi. Ko'pchilik hammalarga rahmat. Kelasi programmamda ko'rishaylik. Martyna xonim, sizga rahmat. Xayr xo'sh. Tamom bo'ling.